All right, before I ask this question, full disclosure, I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army, both the National Guard and the regular Army active duty. I'm also a non-weapons owner. I don't have any weapons, not a shotgun, not a rifle. I have nothing but a bow and arrow for bow fishing. So I don't own weapons. But the reason I don't own weapons is one, it's a personal choice, and two, I don't think I would own weapons if I wanted them, because in the state of Illinois I have to register them. Regardless of the caliber or the technology behind the weapon, I'd have to register it. And I'm not interested in registering my TV. I'm not interested in registering my steak knives, the gasoline I put in my lawnmower, my computer, all things that can be dangerous tools. I'm not interested in registering things. So based on that, I wouldn't own a weapon in the state of Illinois, even if I wanted to, because I'm also a law-abiding citizen. Even if those laws seem unjust, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the process of passing and sustaining bills and laws. That being said, right now, as it is, we still have a constitutional right in the Second Amendment to bear arms. In fact, the Second Amendment, if you want to read the Second Amendment, go to Cornell Law School. It provides a fair bit of information on the Second Amendment. Now, when you read that Second Amendment, I have a sincere question. Do you actually read that Second Amendment and think for 1 second that it is referring to a rifle for hunting and gathering food, or for defending your home against an intruder like a robber? Because as I read the Second Amendment, and I've read it, and it is the plainest of English. It uses the term well-regulated militia. Now, make no mistake, a militia is not the National Guard. It is not the Army Reserves. Look up the even modern definition of what a militia is per Merriam-Webster, and you will see that it is separate of the armed forces, but trained and armed as an armed force. And it's from the citizenry. When you read that, to pretend to agree with, I couldn't even pretend to agree with the Obama administration, including Barack himself, who has said that those weapons were, they didn't intend 30-round magazines, they didn't intend this and that. If that were the technology of the day, that's precisely what they would have intended. But at the time, a muzzle loader would have been the technology of the day, so that's what they intended. If swords and knives had been the technology of the day, that's what they would have intended. It was to protect us from any form of tyranny, enemies foreign and domestic. Now, there's some misquotes of Jefferson, and I think one of the best misquotes that I like is a government, or a people that fear its government are under tyranny. A government that fears its people, that's liberty. Something to that effect. It's not actually, evidently Jefferson didn't actually say the quote, but it's brilliant. When the government fears the people, that's liberty. When the people fear the government, that's tyranny. Something to that effect. And even though it's not legitimately attributed to Jefferson, I think that there's some truth to that. So we have to ask ourselves, would we really interpret the Second Amendment as they intended for us to have just a basic firearm to just protect us from robbers, or to be able to fend off a bear or something like that attacking our house? Or did it mean something else? I don't think you need a militia to protect your house from wildlife. Now, Joe Biden went so far as to say, get yourself a double-barrel shotgun. Fire a couple shots into the air if you hear an intruder. First of all, from a strategic military standpoint, in terms of, fending a position, that's a horrible piece of advice. One, you give away your position. Two, you waste ammunition. From a safety perspective, firing a round directly above your head that's going to return at the same velocity in which it left that barrel when it gets back to you, that's a horrible piece of advice from that standpoint. And from the legal standpoint, I'm pretty sure that's an illegal thing to do. If I hear an intruder, I don't think I can just walk out in my yard and fire some rounds into the air. I don't think that's legal. At least not here in Port Byron Village. I don't think we're allowed to do that. So, Vice President of the United States probably giving you some pretty bad advice on that one. Barack didn't sound quite so stupid, but he did try and put a spin on what the Second Amendment meant, and said that it was designed to protect us against home invasion, so that we could protect our house from wildlife, so we could hunt and gather food. It had nothing to do with any of that. It specifically uses the term militia, and that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed upon. Do you, individuals who oppose the Second Amendment, actually want that taken out of the Constitution. I mean, really think about that. Now, do we have any hope of defending ourselves against the U.S. military should the government employ them to seize our homes and to end our lives and to incarcerate and imprison and enslave us? I can tell you right now, having been in the military, we have little to no chance of success or survival. And anybody with an above average IQ wouldn't want that. Because the fact of the matter is, the chances that you would even see a reestablished state in your lifetime is probably a non-existent chance. But should we need to resist, would it not be a better thing if we could at least provide some resistance? Again, I choose to not own weapons. I choose to think that our government is as good a government as we can have at this moment. I think we live an amazingly fortunate existence to be an American in this day and age. That being said, if it isn't broke, why fix it? And if we think that the Second Amendment is the causation for all the gun-related deaths, that is so nonsensical and so unsubstantiated and absolutely demonstrates lack of understanding in terms of how these crimes are committed and who's committing these crimes. If anything, have we not heard how police have been overly militarized? So now, of all times, why would we want to take away our right to defend, potentially defend against that? Granted, nobody seems to stand up and defend against it. And if you're going to say the pen is mightier than the sword, man, Charlie Hebdo, dude. It's just... There's no logical reason to purposely limit resources that may be available to you and may be requisite at some point in your existence. Hopefully never. But do you really want to get rid of that? Because they never give us more rights back. So the more we give away, those are gone, dude. Those are gone. All right. Cheers.